Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's first video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's first video. It takes around the 19th of December. So we're heading up towards the Christmas period now with the week to 10 day video updates. Actually, we're going to send out a bit beyond that with the GFS. It runs around 2 weeks, and that is getting us to Christmas Day today. The final sort of day of the GFS run now is up to Christmas Day, which means very shortly the Christmas updates, we're going to do another one tomorrow, Christmas updates will be moving on to the GFS because of that. And tonight, actually, we're going to do an Ensembles watch where we'll get all 21 members of the GFS Ensembles, including the operational and parallel runs. We'll get them all together and see what they're all showing up to Christmas Day. So that'll be with you around 7 o'clock this evening. Will be quite an interesting update. But starting us off today is just a regular week to 10 day video update. No long range updates now. We have finished the winter updates and the winter forecast released last Sunday, of course. So all of that long range stuff has finished for the time being. We'll be back in January doing updates for spring, but we're going to have a bit of a break from the long videos. It was a season of very long videos, so I'm going to have a little break through December with that. But I think this video is going to be interesting enough. We're going to focus on weather next week's 10 days. There is a couple of points we're going to start off with as well. We're looking at the QBO and also the latest number for ENSO. So that's how we're going to start the video for today. But before I do anything else, I'm going to say a big thank you to our latest patron and donor. So we're now up to 51 patrons, and our 51st patron for Gazworth is now let me get the name right. I think it's Shawnee Gray. So big thank you to Shawnee Gray for becoming our 51st patron. If you would like to become a patron for Gazworth, visit Gazworth's Patreon page. You can just come here, you sign up for a Patreon account, and then you can pledge an ongoing monthly donation to Gazworth. We've got 51 patrons so far. Big thank you to all of the patrons for Gazworth, and special thank you to Shawnee Gray for becoming our 51st patron. The other way of giving a donation to Gazworth is doing it through PayPal. So this is the Gazworth.me PayPal page, and we have had a new donation as well. So I'm going to say big thank you to Cameron Edwards. Big thank you to Cameron Edwards for becoming a donor for Gazworth. Now, if you'd like to give a donation to Gazworth, again, just come to the Gazworth PayPal page. We link to this at all the pages at Gazworth's website and in the description at YouTube. So you just come to this page, you sign into your PayPal account, and very simply you can donate whatever amount of money you would like. So you can either become a patron or a donor for Gazworth. Either way, you'll get a mention in the videos as long as you want one. You'd rather stay anonymous, and a few people have chosen to do that. Then just leave a little note with your donation telling us that you'd rather not have your name announced. We'll just say thank you to this anonymous donor. You'll know who you are, I'll know who you are, but we'll keep your name private. So if that's what you want to do, then that's perfectly fine. But otherwise, you'll get a mention in the vids, and we'll say thank you very much for doing that. Of course, it may be that you would prefer to have a mention for your website or for your business. We're very happy to do that for you as well. So it's however you want it. And you're helping us to pay for Gazworth, you're helping us to pay for the website. So a big thank you to all of the patrons, to all of the donors for Gazworth. Special thank you to Shawnee Gray and also to Cameron Edwards for becoming the latest patron and donor for Gazworth. So we're going to start off with this video having a look at the cold and warm episodes by season chart from now. This is kind of like what we do in the Sunday Roundup, and the Gazworth Sunday Roundups will be returning in the new year as well, by the way. So we're going to scroll down to 2018, the current year, just there, and we can see that we start 2018 with a cold event, these blue negative numbers indicating La Nina. Then through the middle of the year and up to very recently, we go into ENSO neutral conditions, so we go away from cold event into ENSO neutral. The very latest number, though, gets us into El Nino threshold. So we're up to, for the tri-monthly period, September, October, November, we are up to plus 0.7. And that is an important number because it gets us into El Nino type threshold. To get these events designated, be they El Nino or La Nina, you need to be either half a degree above average, half a degree or more above average in terms of El Nino, and half a degree or more below average in terms of La Nina. So 0.5 is the important number. If you get to 0.5 or above it, then your temperature anomaly has reached El Nino threshold. So we've reached El Nino threshold in terms of the temperature anomaly, but the other factor that can make it a little bit difficult to get these events designated is that you have to run that over 5 tri-monthly periods. So we've got to have a similar number or higher, anything from 0.5 degrees or more above in that box just there when it appears, in that box just there, that will be 3, and then another 2 there and there. If we are at 0.5 degrees or more above average over those 5 tri-monthly periods, then you'll see the numbers turning red, and we'll know that we have had an El Nino. So sometimes you can fall just a little bit short. Either the anomaly doesn't quite reach that 0.5 threshold, or more often than not, you don't run it over the required 5 tri-monthly periods. So wait and see on that. But number 1 of the 5 is in the bank now, and we can say that for September, October, November, we did reach El Nino type threshold. Also, in terms of the QBO, quasi-binary oscillation, that number is in. We have shifted into the westerly phase of the QBO as we've been expecting. So the QBO is an index that's reflective of the strength of the zonal westerlies. And when you're in an easterly QBO, zonal westerlies will be weakened. When you're in a westerly QBO, typically the zonal westerlies will be strengthened. So we went into the easy phase of the QBO during the middle of 2017 with all of these negative numbers just here, continuing into the first half of 2018 as well, reaching its peak with that number just there, minus 29.10 in July. Since then, we have been unraveling that easterly QBO, gradually weakening it off. So the latest number for November comes out at plus 3.36, very slightly westerly QBO. Now, just because the QBO has gone very slightly into its westerly phase doesn't mean it will yet be having much of an impact on the atmosphere. There's always a time lag between starting to shift into a QBO phase and that QBO phase then having an effect on the boundary level of the atmosphere where it's taking place. So that's a very weak number. I doubt that has much impact on the atmosphere. I doubt December's number will have much impact either. However, when we get through to January, February, March, then we will see the westerly QBO really starting to take off. By that point, it should start having impacts on the atmosphere. However, as we've explained, just because you're in a westerly QBO does not mean you can't have cold weather. There are many examples going back to the 1950s where easterly QBOs have delivered mild winters rather than cold winters, and westerly QBOs have delivered cold winters rather than mild winters. So it's not a guarantee of anything. CET is looking like this. This is the latest from Hadley. So we currently stand for December, a very mild opening to the month. We currently stand at 8.4, an anomaly of over 3 degrees above average, 3.4 degrees above average, exceptionally mild start to December. That is provisional up to yesterday, the 8th of December. Of course, November came out as a very mild month as well, nearly 2 degrees above average. I know a lot of you are waiting for the verification for the autumn forecast. I'm hoping to get that to you tomorrow. Will be one day this week, possibly will be tomorrow. So just watch out for it. It will be coming very shortly, and we'll be verifying the autumn forecast, see how we did. But really mild start to December and to winter 2018-19, to say the least. GFS ensembles are looking like this. We're looking at Glasgow today, so I'll have a look at Glasgow. So the red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Glasgow, starting rather cold on average at the moment. It's going to go a bit milder than average by around Tuesday. And then we just hover very, very close to the 30-year temperature average. No real deviation there at all. Although, I've been saying this in videos, I think that's masking a little bit of a zonal sine wave. I suspect there are warmer warmer and cooler sectors that are alternating and keeping that mean line, which is the white line, kind of like trending very flat with the 30-year temperature average. So I expect there's a bit of zonality going on there, but certainly not a particularly big deviation. More dramatically is the precipitation, as we've been saying. Quite a lot of dry weather in the next couple of days, but then from middle of week onwards through to the end of week next weekend and beyond that, looks like we're in for a bit of a deluge. Bear in mind, this is for southwestern Scotland, so it's one of the wetter places in the country, but it does look like there's going to be plenty of rain coming up in the second half of the week and then running on into like the second half of the month. Temperature anomalies are coming out milder than average from the 9th to the 17th of December. We seem to be saying that a lot just lately. Looks really quite cold over Norway, though. Not sure what's going on up there. Norway looks significantly colder than average, but Sweden looks significantly milder than average, as does Finland. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but certainly looks pretty cold for Norway. That's pretty much the only place in Europe that actually looks cold. Most other areas looking milder than average. The UK and Ireland coming out a little bit above average, not a big deviation, but we're around a degree or so above average there from the 9th through to the 17th of December. No sign of things turning cold on those anomaly charts yet. Precipitation anomalies are coming out average to above average again, so it looks rather mild but unsettled in the next week. Right, this was the midnight run of the GFS operational run, and again we're starting on Wednesday, so we've got the high pressure up over Scandinavia, we've got low pressure out in the Atlantic, quite a deep area of low pressure there in the middle of the Atlantic, battling against high pressure that's building up over Scandinavia. As we go through to Thursday, we find the winds going into the south with low pressure stalling out to west. There's an active weather front there that's through the central part of the country, bringing outbreaks of rain, getting a little bit stuck, not being able to progress eastwards into the North Sea because of that area of high pressure over Scandinavia. Suggestions of a little bit of a slide actually of that weather front, forming an area of low pressure here off the coast of East Anglia. Time to get through to Friday. That's a kind of situation. It can produce snow for the northern eastern parts of the country. I don't think the GFS particularly was going for snow, but it's a sort of situation that when you get a weather front kind of strung out and then sliding to the southeast, kind of situation, but on the northern and eastern side of that front you can sometimes get snow if the air is cold enough. More low pressure comes rattling in next weekend, so very unsettled conditions continue. That looks really windy in a week's time. That's the 16th of December. Real gales across England and Wales going on there. Running up towards day 10, it stays very unsettled, so low pressure is never far away, bringing showers or longer spells of rain with the midnight run of the GFS. In the more extended range, starting to run up towards Christmas, the midnight run of the GFS did start to build heights to our north again. So we're up to the eve of Christmas Eve, the 23rd of December, still with low pressure over top of the country, but notice this ridge is beginning to form in the middle of the Atlantic and starting to move up towards Greenland. So as we get to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we actually turn the winds into the north on the midnight run of the GFS. That's Christmas Day, as far as we can go, 384 hours away, and we are pulling down a pretty cold northerly wind, and that would bring snow showers to northern parts of the country. In particular, that would be a white Christmas, probably for parts of Scotland. It's so far away that you can't take it seriously, but it's quite interesting that the midnight run of the GFS did finish up with that northerly wind. Please don't get excited about that, it's too far away to take it particularly seriously. Let's have a look at the 6 o'clock run. This is the very latest run of the GFS. Again, we're starting off on Wednesday, high pressure building up over Scandinavia. If it wasn't this really deep area of low pressure in the middle of the Atlantic just here, I suspect the high pressure over Scandinavia would get the wind into the east. So if you want cold weather and easterly winds, been a little bit unlucky with that low pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. It wasn't quite so deep. I reckon this high pressure would have took over the pattern. But as it is, we find these weather fronts coming up against this ridge of high pressure. Again, becoming a little bit stuck on Thursday, so Thursday could be a thoroughly wet and miserable, cold, wet day. No slide of that low pressure and weather front, though, through to Friday. We just bring another low pressure through. So the Scandinavian high is a little bit weaker on this run. We don't get the slide of a weather front forming a little low pressure along it, such as we did on the midnight run of the GFS. We just bring this next low pressure in, giving us another battering of wet and windy weather. Next weekend looks really unsettled too. Low pressure being thrown up into the UK. The high pressure over Scandinavia is receding back into Russia temporarily, probably, but it is beginning to recede back into Russia next weekend. And that gets up to day 10, where we still look very, very unsettled. What's the 6 o'clock run going to do as we get to Christmas? Well, we find low pressure still close to the country, running up towards Christmas, bringing more showers or longer spells of rain. But look at this, we're up to the eve of Christmas Eve, the 23rd of December, and again that low pressure is moving away to the east of Scotland. We're building a ridge up in the middle of the Atlantic and starting to try to get it up towards Greenland, and so that's beginning to turn the wind into a colder northerly once again, and that's how we look as we get to Christmas Eve, pulling down cold northerly winds, and that's Christmas Day, and it's another GFS extended GFS run that is going for northerly winds for Christmas Day. We didn't see much sign of that with the CFS V2. Won't be doing the Christmas updates. Is probably almost certainly wrong. It's too far away to have any credibility really, but it's interesting that we've had two operational GFS runs, midnight and 6 o'clock, both ending on a similar note with northerly winds. But I suspect by the time we get through to the midday run, we will have lost that northerly wind and we'll probably replace it with westerlies or something like that. But there we go, two GFS runs at the moment, finishing on Christmas Day with cold northerly winds, probably bring snow showers at least to Scotland. This is the ECMWF, so again, Wednesday we've got high pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. Now, always seems to be a little bit stronger with that Scandinavian high on the ECM. So this low pressure gets, it stalls further to the west of us on Thursday. The weather front is actually to the west of Ireland at this point, so we're being dominated by the Scandinavian high with the ECM in the second half of the week. That does actually turn the wind into the east. Look at this, winds are coming in from an easterly direction on Friday. And they'll be quite cold as well, maybe even bring a few snow flurries to eastern coastal counties. Then the Atlantic has another go at us on Saturday. This is Saturday the 15th, with another weather system coming in from off the Atlantic Ocean. Really struggling with this though, it's coming into cold air. There's a weather front that's in that kind of position, and I'll show it in a moment. It did actually produce quite a bit of snow for northern parts of the country anyway next weekend, this ECM run for the 15th and the 16th of December. Eventually the Atlantic did break through on this midnight run of the ECM, so we're up to Monday the 17th. The Atlantic westerlies are beginning to feed in now, and that takes us into very unsettled looking chart for day 10, Wednesday 19th of December. Low pressures out to the west of Ireland, bringing in wet and windy conditions across the country. Let's just show you that little snow event that the ECM was going for. So this is starting off on Thursday. This is showing us total snow cover. Barely any snow cover. It's at weather.us, by the way. You find links to weather.us on the links page at Gav's Weathers and also in the description at YouTube. So very little in the way of snow cover anywhere away from the Scottish mountains on Thursday. Let's get to Friday. And again, we see very little snow cover on Friday. Let's move on to Saturday. There we go. And they just start seeing a little bit of snow cover beginning to appear across western parts of the country on Saturday. If we go a little bit further into Saturday, so we'll go to there, we can see that suddenly quite a lot of snow appears. Deep snow across Scotland, northern, eastern parts, even down into the Midlands through East Anglia, just really the west of Wales, southwest England, that is, escaping that snow. So that's Saturday going through to Sunday as that area of low pressure comes up against the cold air but is established by the easterly wind and stalls and struggles. That does produce a snow event for many parts of the country. Bear in mind that is very different what the GFS is showing. The GFS wants to push the Atlantic through much more quickly, although the midnight GFS run did have that suggestion of a bit of a stall and a slide of the weather front on Thursday, but the 6 o'clock run didn't show that. And this is assuming that every single flake of snow that falls settles. So that's the other problem with this. It does overdo the snow death. But definitely there was a suggestion on the midnight run of the ECM that there might be some snow next weekend. I think it's very unlikely that that would happen, but we'll keep an eye on it. There's still a bit of uncertainty, I have to say, about this Scandinavian high versus the low pressure in the Atlantic. Finally, I just want to leave you with this. This was the midnight parallel GFS run in terms of stratospheric temperatures. Look at the stratospheric warming the midnight run of the parallel GFS was going for today. Look at that massive warming occurring over Siberia. That is a genuine and very dramatic sudden stratospheric warming that's occurring on Christmas Day over Siberia, and beginning to look like it's penetrating into the North Pole as well. If that did happen, then it will be a case of watch out January, because that's the kind of dramatic development that can lead to very extensive northern blocking. We could go on a couple more days, say to around 27th, 28th of December. I suspect we would see these blue and purple colours over Greenland and the North Pole, kind of like obliterated as these warm colours penetrate into the pole. It is the kind of thing that will very dramatically change the weather pattern and can very dramatically produce a lot of northern blocking. We talked about the stratosphere and stratospheric warmings in December yesterday. It's a long video that we did yesterday afternoon. I released it quite late, so a lot of you probably haven't watched that yet. You can find it on the catch-up page at Gaz Office. Of course, it's on the YouTube channel as well. So it runs over half an hour. It goes over all the things that you need to know in terms of the stratospheric warming. But that is the biggest strat warming that we've seen forecast so far by the GFS. It wasn't the operational going back, it was a parallel run. So how reliable it is, I'm not sure, but we should wait and see. Maybe we will have very dramatic developments in the stratosphere over Christmas. We will keep you posted on that. Right, that's today's video done for you. So come back later on today, probably around 7 o'clock this evening. We'll have that Ensembles watch. We'll go through all members of the GFS Ensembles, see what they're all showing going up to Christmas Day. Will that northerly, that the two operational GFS runs, be supported by the GFS Ensembles? You'll find out around 7 o'clock tonight. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.